Somehow, Webstars turns 20 in November 2023. To celebrate 20 years of our existence as a company, when we've seen loads of other agencies fall by the wayside over the years, we decided to record a series of videos. And the theme for the videos that we thought was most appropriate was mistakes we've made and what we've learned from them. And just scanning down the list, Jazz, of topics for these 20 videos, I noticed that the first one is one that you came up with, and that's about white labeling, which is something we did an awful lot of in our early days.
Yeah, and I guess at the time it didn't seem like a mistake, and in hindsight, arguably, it did give us some advantage. But I think ultimately, agencies white labeling other agency services is never really the best for any party, if I'm being honest. I think when we started doing it, it was in the days of agencies needing to pretend they provided a really full service offering, which in reality would require possibly staff of sort of 30 or 40 or more, and they could white label our services. It was challenging, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's challenging because it's deceitful to the client. The client nearly always finds out at the end of the day, and it makes processes a whole heap harder. Because all of a sudden, we were going from using our defined processes, communication styles, and way of working with clients to working with the agency's processes and client communication styles. And it just never really worked that well for us, albeit it did help us land some really large clients. It definitely gave us an advantage when it came to pitching for more of our own work.
We just couldn't talk about them because we signed NDAs, so we weren't able to name names.
Yeah, that is true. Although, if we fast forward, I think to 2007-8, I think we've got a slight change there, whereby a couple of the white label partnerships turned into technical partnerships, or technical expert type partnerships. So we did get some benefit long term, but it wouldn't be anything we would do now. And indeed, we don't white label other people's services. If you work with us, you're either working with our permanent team, or indeed we're bringing people in as experts and making it incredibly clear that they are actually contractors from the get-go.
Because they're the right person for the job. I would just add to that, and this is something you touched on, I think, is that we couldn't really define our own values in those early days because we were having to adapt all the time to other organizations' cultures and values. So yeah, I think there were lots of lessons that came out of that.
Yeah, and I think that is incredibly important, because I think culture and values are something that's quite often overlooked by organisations, and it can end up taking us down a really bad path, I guess. I think there's certain values that we may have inadvertently adopted, which in hindsight were probably not where we were really wanting to head.
Absolutely.